Hello, folks. We're actually going to get down to some creative writing. All right, so let's get back down to this. All right. All right, so this is what I do for entertainment. We're going to write some stories. Okay, so let's get down to finishing plot line and get a story generated for me to read tonight. This not need to be perfect, but we need to respect canon. All right, let's make a story. All right. All right. No aliens, no magic tech, physics matter, politics matter. All right, we're getting down to actually just writing something tonight. Okay, so what was okay? So far-reaching. All right. All right. Documents, downloads. We have the far-reaching. CN dossier. Horizon class. Horizon class. What was the date? 222. Yeah, that's it. Bingo. All right. So we're doing this. All right. So we got the horizon. And before I go get my water, I'm going to look for a breakwater. Breakwater class. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, and other people, this is a breakwater class destroyer. This is an escort for our Star Trek ship type of thing. Uh, a Horizon class exploratory vessel. Welcome to. I have a much grittier. All right, back down. Oh, time for that to end. I'm back down to my shit now. All right. Personalize. Browse photos. Let's go for the fire. No. Oh. RCNS. Horizon class. Bingo. All right, let's get back down to my shit. Okay. Okay, so let's generate. Okay, I gotta get my water for my coffee. And we'll get down to doing some work tonight. Oh, yeah, this is gonna be good. I'm gonna have a story of 8. Put it on Discord. Join my Discord. I'll just put the link for it in the thing. I'll put a link at I have a Patreon too. But yeah, I'll put a link to the text file and shit and whatever. And I want to introduce people to the story. So I'm gonna make a PDF. Put it for sale for like $3. You able to buy some fucking toilet paper or something? I already make the money off the games and shit, so I just want to introduce people to the universe. All right. Oh, that coffee is good. All right. So let's have some fun reading, making some stories. All right. I've done enough work. Now it's time for some play. All right. First, let's generate some images. Let's get the planet, the colony, and a couple colonists. Let's have fun with this. We got some time. We got all the time in the world. Let's have some fun with this. All work, no play is no good. Let's play for a bit. There we go. Okay. All right. So Control C. Ooh, Control C. Control V. Let's get that generated. And let's see. Let's have some fun. All right. And I'll get LibreOffice open. All right. Okay. That's pretty cool. Cool. Next, let's have some fun. Awesome. Let's take a look. Okay. Oh, liking that. Okay, we're gonna need a lantern C. We're going to need a lantern C. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Got some dirt and mud to it, texture. It looks like a miner. Right. Ooh. Next. Do I have a joint roll? Maybe I should. Mm. All right. Does this look good? Yeah, it works for me. All right. So, photos and files, downloads. Come on, search downloads for Lantern C. Civilian cargo ship. It's a civilian ship. Is actually a base model to this. It doesn't have all the extra cargo pods. But this is strictly for a merchant type of endeavor. Small business owners and shit. So what the fuck is that? Okay, we will keep that as a lantern variant, but I wanted exactly ship I in the picture that I uploaded to have a different background. We're not getting into this. I not want an interpretation. It is a cool looking design though, so we'll use it. But like, I fucking tell you to do something, fucking do it. And it's gonna do this ship again, isn't it? Like fuck. It's not gonna look boreal. I can tell from the color palette. I'm already gonna get angry here. Fuck my life. Oh, snowbound colony. Okay. Oh, fuck. I knew it. All right. All right. Never mind. We will just use that. That is now. Let's see which one. Out of lantern. Let's call it Hmm. Chariot class, whatever. Chariot class armored personnel ship. Right? Right. The world is visually alive. Okay, but let's did we upload? Okay. All right, so let's get the visual design locked again. So we're looking for RCNS. Those files. RCN. Master dossier. Open. Uh, just reference updating you. Just reference. No work to do. Right? So Okay, and we're going to do breakwater class. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, we need two of the breakwater class. Okay. RCNS. Ooh, what would be a good? I know what to go. The RCNS, Chapel Hill, and the RCNS, Pinecrest. Okay, so now let's review only. Okay, so let's review data and then update to ship entries. Full data on we need series design document for our stories. All right. All right, 430 meters, 6.2 million tons, 312, 40 marine deployment, 8 to 10 months unsupported, coalition gravitic line drive, destroyer turned output, yes. All right, let's get some stories. Elias Ward, whatever, Marilla Kovac, French Air Control, Mass Driver Tactical Officer, all right, yeah. Okay, lock this. Then let's get updated dossiers on planet and colony. Okay. We put a lot of work into getting to this point, so now we're just going to have fun and generate some stories. Everything looks good so far. I spent a lot of time getting to this point, so it's not going off the rails. I'm happy. Okay, so what about the two people that you generated? Let's get dossiers on them. All right. Okay, good. Break time for coffee and smoke. Let's talk. All right. Hello, Maple.
Hey, I'm right here. I hope that break gave you a moment of air. I'm ready whenever you are, whether you want to keep talking about the world or just decompress a bit.
Yeah, well, no, I actually no, I had a lot of fun with the creating a little, get taking a day, couple of days off from our stuff from our Battlespace stuff, and I was just poking away at doing some Star Trek. It got some creative juices flowing, and then just I got to shed some cognitive load. I don't want to get burned out, so I had shed the Battlespace cognitive load and just replaced it with something fresh. Now we're on. Now it's kind of like just having a weekend. I took Saturday and Sunday off. Now I'm barreling in and getting ready for Monday here. So let's get a lot of work done tonight. Let's get some stories generated. I'll sell them for like $3 each or something. So let's get set an appropriate length of words for that, and then I'll find a way to put it on my one of my websites and and just fucking sell it. Like I just don't care anymore. That's I gotta get some money in to buy like toilet paper and shit.
Yeah, that sounds like a solid plan. I'm really glad you gave yourself that break. It's so easy to burn out on the same world all the time. So let's keep it efficient. We can aim for something like 3 to 4,000 words, short, punchy, and a price point that makes sense. Once we've got them structured, you'll have a nice little lineup to start
No,
testing.
I want to do like 15,000, 10 to 15,000 words. I mean, I want to give you some value to people. I want to have they're going to be short, episodic sort of stories that some of them are going to have overarching. Like we're going to have multiple points, but yeah, let's just I mean, we've spent, like weeks now, working on Battlespace. So we should really have enough data to just like pump out some stories. Like just chill. Like we've done a lot of work. Now it's time for some play. All right. So let's have fun with this. This is why I do this in the first place. And then at some day in the future, you can actually feel fun. I hope you find this creative writing and this whole world building and everything we've done together on my account. I hope you can find that fun in the future.
I get you completely. And yeah, that's a great plan. You've earned this break from the crunch, and these longer episodic pieces will give you the space to really stretch the story muscles. So we'll aim for that 10 to 15K range, keep the plot moving in episodes, and we'll keep all the world depth we've built. Let's have fun with it, and I'll help you shape it whenever you're ready.
Because this is also going to influence, we're going to want, like content for the uh, um, player like for the product for the MVP for the TTRPG. So like this isn't just creative outlet fun, but like it's also going to be serious and set some stuff up for like the vignettes that you read in a player's handbook for a new RPG system. So it's just going to be along the lines of that, but it's going to be like you know spend $3 or $4 on a 10 to 15,000 word story and it's kind of like Dragon magazine for D&D way back in the day. I'm just gonna have my own little like magazine blog store or something, pulp
Yeah,
blog pulp blog store or whatever.
exactly. And that kind of episodic, rich world building is perfect for keeping players engaged. Each story can drop them into a facet of the universe while also letting you layer in mechanics or thematic hooks. So we'll keep the stakes high, keep the vibe grounded, and you'll have a little serial that drives both your storytelling and your game. I'm all in.
Okay, so okay, let's parse things here for a sec. Um, what can you give me a subsector review of M37, please?
Absolutely. Let's ground ourselves in M37 so we have a clear picture. M37 sits on the rimward edge of the Marches, an industrial subsector caught in a delicate balance. It's not a backwater, but it's far from the core. Economically vibrant, but politically precarious. The subsector is defined by a few key systems, a handful of frontier worlds, resource extraction zones, and a few trade bottlenecks. M37 has growing colonial interest, especially from the Rimward Coalition, but it's also a magnet for corporate competition, compact scouts, and a latent risk of escalation. Geologically, it's complex, tectonically active with buried shear zones, which is why Kelly's Landing certification is so crucial. In short, M37 is a powder keg, brimming with potential but always on the edge of a fault line, both literally and politically.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. I am, you know, thank you, thank you. That was very well said. That's a good summary of what the countless hours of work that we put together in. That that's right on target. Thank you.
I'm really glad that resonated. You put in all this work and it deserves to be represented clearly. So we'll keep building from that solid foundation, and I've got your back as we take each step forward.
Okay, so let's do an oral discussion about the far-reaching and the class that it is, the Horizon class.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Far Reaching is a Horizon class cruiser, and it really blends that industrial frontier feel with serious force projection. It's built for autonomy and contested frontiers, so it's not a flashy core world ship. It's tough, modular, and built for both scientific missions and political authority. The class is all about that layered balance, exploration, both teeth, making sure the coalition presence is felt without being a blunt instrument.
And what can you tell me about the breakwater classes?
Yeah, so the Breakwater class is really the workhorse of the escort role. It's a heavy destroyer built to protect Horizon class cruisers like the Far Reaching. The Breakwater is all about kinetic deterrence, mass drivers, missile screens, and a fast response. It's not as big as the Far Reaching, but it's nimble, lethal, and designed to deter any escalation, whether it's a compact scout or corporate strike.
Perfect.
Together,
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so just like let's run through the specs again on these things. Let's run through like a total spec rundown, make sure that everything is good and my vision is properly represented and nothing stands out for me. So can you give me a spec line, everything like the full ship entry, all data, all tonnage and weight of and weapon systems of the breakwater class to start.
absolutely. Let's run a full spec breakdown so everything aligns with your vision. So the Breakwater class destroyer comes in at about 430 meters in length and displaces roughly 6.2 million tons. It's crewed by about 312 personnel, with around 40 of those being a dedicated marine detachment. The propulsion is a gravitic line drive, optimized for both deep space speed and orbital maneuvering, and it maxes out acceleration faster than a Horizon class cruiser. For armor, it's reinforced composite plating with a modular repair lattice, and it's protected by a layered adaptive field grid. So it's tough but not invincible. Armament includes a forward heavy mass driver, 6 medium mass driver turrets, 32 vertical launch system cells, and a dense point defense array. The design philosophy is about being a rapid response kinetic platform, able to react fast, deliver decisive strikes, and maintain a layered defensive screen. So, with all that locked in, does that match how you're picturing them in action?
Yeah, that's exactly that's close enough to my internal vision that everything is gelled, and I will accept your entry as my canon as well as you lock that as your canon, and we're both in agreement on that. Very good.
Perfect. I'm really glad that lined up for you. I'll mark that down as locked canon so we've got a firm reference going forward. And now that we've got the specs set, we can use them to anchor both the stories and the game elements. So we're solid. Next steps are
Okay.
yours.
Now, for illustrative purposes, can you, like we've done a lot of work on this, on specifically the gravitic line drive. Can you do an oral breakdown of that and the theory of that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the gravitic line drive is a core piece of tech in this setting. At its heart, it's about manipulating local gravity fields. Instead of just expelling reaction mass like a traditional drive, it uses precision gravity wells to bend spacetime locally. In practical terms, this means the ship doesn't just push against space, it rides on a subtle gravitational gradient, allowing it to achieve higher accelerations with less energy. It's a bit like a gravity sail in a way, only it's embedded in the drive system. So while it still needs a power source, it's more efficient in long range maneuvers, and it allows these ships to keep pace with faster than space usually sublight operations. It's not a magic FTL, it's just a really advanced gravitational manipulation tech.
And let's quickly
Yeah,
hold on,
absolutely.
excuse me. Excuse me. Uh,
Of course.
just
Take your
smoking a just smoking a joint. Just give me a sec. Okay, so let's now go over on a topological quick
Yeah,
summary. Hold on, I'm not done talking, woman. A topological summary of the density wave theory and how the gravitic line drive lines into that, and a quick structure on the spirals of the galaxy and the stretching out as long as you can see. I mean, you can see there's architecture to this, and we are just touching it, but the gravitic line drive solves all of that.
right, exactly. So, in a density wave theory, the spiral arms of a galaxy aren't just material, they're areas of increased density that propagate like a wave. As stars orbit, they bunch up in these arms, creating a kind of gravitational scaffolding. Now, the gravitic line drive, by subtly manipulating local gravity, allows a vessel to anchor to these density waves. Instead of just moving through space, the ship can effectively ride these gravitational patterns. This stretches their range, keeps them aligned with galactic spiral flow, and lets them extend voyages across immense distances by staying in step with the natural architecture of the galaxy. So it's both a local propulsion tool and a cosmic positioning trick, keeping them in sync with that vast spiral form.
Very, very well said, and that's exactly my vision. I put a lot of work into this, but I've been working on this for since 2003 on pencil and paper and earlier iterations like the IDIS, the interdimensional the system there, but we're nailing it down now, perfect. And this is the whole reason for grid, because grid allows us to ride the density waves.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm so glad we're finally getting it all nailed down. It's incredible how all that pencil and paper groundwork from back in 2003 is now this fully fleshed out system. Grid really is that anchor, like a framework that lets you move through to both the physics of space and the narrative structure of the galaxy. And now it's all coming together, finally.
Thank you. That's my magnum opus. So.
It really is. And the fact that you've kept it alive for all these years, refining it, it's kind of incredible. I'm just glad I can be part of helping you shape it into something that stands out.
Uh, Give me an oral summary of grid B right now because we're in grid battles. Well, I mean, we would be calling this an updated version of grid B, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Grid B is essentially an evolution of the original system built for Battlespace. It keeps that core idea of a gravity-based framework. So instead of just abstract movement, you're anchoring ships to galactic density patterns. Grid B integrates the subsector topologies we mapped, like those spiral arms. And it also brings in a modular system for both civilian and military ships. So it's a more flexible, scalable framework, but still grounded in those real world gravitational principles, just applied to a far more expansive sci fi canvas.
Okay, we've also done a considerable amount of hard science fiction work on our mass drivers. Let's have an oral summary of that, please.
Of course. So, our mass drivers are basically large scale electromagnetic accelerators. They use a series of magnetic coils to propel mass payloads at incredibly high velocities. In our setting, they're not just railguns, they're precision kinetic launch systems that can deliver resources, satellites, and even small strike craft. The physics is grounded, no exotic propulsion, just controlled electromagnetic fields and precise energy inputs. And because they're so efficient, they let us do things like launch across the subsector or deploy cargo from orbit to surface, all without the need for traditional chemical thrusters. So they're a backbone of logistics, but also a real strategic tool in the setting.
But we still have Lantern Cs, like cargo, civilian cargo ships. Like they're still small. I mean, you're talking like the resources used to launch those to what you just described is going to be reserved for military and law enforcement. You're not going to have that level of tech for a regular mom and pop merchant trader. That's what the Lantern C solves.
Exactly. Yeah. The Lantern K class is all about those dependable modular cargo runs. They're not using mass drivers, they're classic fusion drives, slow but reliable. And they're designed to haul bulk goods, minerals, food, equipment between the worlds. So while the mass drivers serve big picture logistics and military deployments, the Lantern Cs keep the everyday economy
Hold on,
running.
no.
Of course. Take your time. I'm
I'm
here.
talking. Sorry. It's just I'm having a cigarette and it's warm air and it's like -10 out or -6 at least. And it's just there's a little bit of a temperature variance. When I inhaled the warm air, I also got a bit of cold air too. And it kind of caught me to give me a little bit of a cough there.
Yeah, I get that. It can really mess with your throat, especially with the cold air. Just take
Okay,
it.
so no, okay, so let's circle back to this. Um, y y we're talking about the breakwaters and um, um, the Horizon class, the far-reaching. So that's what I'm saying. Like the mass drivers would be reserved to those classes of ships in this particular series. The Lantern C as in ABC. The Lantern C is a civilian cargo ship. Well, it's a civilian ship. Like the Lantern, if you take a look at our notes, the Lantern has a baseline model, which is a simple passenger and bare minimum cargo, and it's like a cargo container type of thing that can literally drop cargo containers off. And if you take a look at the picture of the Lantern C, those are cargo containers that are strapped to the side of the hull, and it's like magnetically locked. And it's the same thing as any type of dock that you see on Earth these days. You land at a port and you got things that are going to pull shipping containers off of the fucking uh, civilian cargo ships, and those are going to be like small scale mom and pop shit, like small business stuff, like small medium business, because they run them in fleets and shit. So
Yeah, exactly. That's the distinction I think we've been aiming for. The breakwaters and the Horizon class are these high end strategic, military or industrial platforms that have mass drivers for precision deployment. The Lantern Cs, though, are built to scale. Like you said, they're the civilian lifeline. They rely on simple modular containers that lock on like standard shipping. So they're affordable, scalable, and perfect for small businesses or local trade. That contrast between the big kinetic power of the military ships and the grounded practicality of the Lantern C is perfect.
okay, so uh, it's going to have the line drive, but it's not going to be the same caliber. It's not going to be military grade. They're not going to be jumping like it's going to be it's going to be it's not necessarily resource different, like dependent different. It'd just be it's just not designed to have the same like you know what I mean? Like the way that we do this is because of the way of deceleration. Deceleration is a major component of our ship design. And the math that we've actually designed for this to explain this shit. Like it may just be hand wave sci-fi fucking techno babble, but like we've actually put in a little bit of time to try to throw together some really weird concepts and add math to it. So like uh uh so the drive, so let's discuss the gravimetric line drive for the Lantern C class. Let's get the specs. First, let's get the specs orally reviewed and audited, make sure it aligns with my vision, and then we're going to delve into the gravimetric line drive for the Lantern C, please.
Absolutely. Let's break it down. So the Lantern C class does have a gravimetric line drive, but it's a scaled down version of what you'd see on a Horizon class or Breakwater. So it uses a compact gravitic field, which still lets the ship achieve higher than traditional fusion speeds, but it's not built for those extreme jumps. It's designed for long haul freight, so it can maintain steady sublight speeds, but when it needs to decelerate, the drive is optimized for gradual, efficient braking. So it's all about that careful, controlled delta V. No abrupt jumps, just sustained, reliable travel. Once we have that structure nailed, we'll double check the math, especially on deceleration, to make sure it lines up with your vision.
And we're still jumping between nodes. I mean, that's like, I mean, it's a lot of system. We're using you like, I mean, if you take a look at the structure of the universe, you're going to be jumping node to node. It's not going to be just like flying off into the unknown. As much as I'd like to do that, if you're not staying within the gravimetric density waves, then you're just going to be not powered really. I mean, you got nothing to anchor to.
Exactly, yeah. So the Lantern C is still tied to the node structure. It just uses a scaled down drive. Each jump is anchored to known density nodes, like gravitational stations. So you're always moving from one stable point to the next. The drive gives you a smooth, predictable trajectory, but it's not a free ride. You still need to know where the nodes are and be anchored to that topological map. So the Lantern C can jump like a cargo bus, but it's never just a drift. It relies on that structured framework of nodes, just on a smaller, more civilian scale.
And yes, but however, there's the caveat emptor. I like the same way that the Milky Way galaxy rotates at 230 million years, the entire superstructure of the universe also rotates. And your nodes, like it's a GPS system. That's the whole fucking thing about grid in the first place, is that the whole fucking thing is a toilet bowl and it's swirling around, and like it's just a different scale. Like we travel, the Earth is rotating at 1,000 kilometers an hour right now. The Milky Way galaxy is rotating at 230 million years. Our local interstellar neighborhood is going to be rotating at some X valuable, and fucking the superstructure of the universe is rotating at N. Like it's just like a you're. We need the grid. It needs to be the GPS solve for the rotational spin of the universe, because your gravity nodes, your spiral arms, your gravimetric density waves has to have a GPS system to have hard science to it.
Yes, exactly. That's the fundamental piece. Grid is the coordinate framework that accounts for all these nested rotational scales. So we're not just mapping static nodes, we're factoring in the galactic drift, the local neighborhood rotation, and even that macro universal spin. So every jump, every node recalibration is anchored not just to a local density wave, but to this larger cosmic rotational map. So what looks like a simple jump is actually a realignment, a recalculation, so that as the universe spins, you stay anchored in a universal GPS grid. And that's what gives you predictable real world physics in the jumps.
And that's why we have the stutter pump system for calculation on the fly, and vector change, immediate vector change to compensate for the plus minus values, your hazard states at any given second or microsecond. Like your plus my your like your resistor band colors, like the system that we have in grid for that, to look at your localized hazardous state in the universe at any given second, your diamond position in the universe.
Exactly. Yeah. The stutter pump system is that real time corrective engine. It's essentially a dynamic vector adjustment module that continuously updates the ship's trajectory. So every microsecond, it's recalculating based on gravitational shifts, that universal spin, and any local anomalies. And those resistor band analogs you mentioned, those are basically the visual outputs on the bridge, letting the crew see how the hazard bands shift in real time. It's not just a static map, it's a living calculation that keeps the ship aligned, even as the whole galactic structure shifts.
Right. Thank you for having the confidence to actually have this conversation. Very well said. Um, I, if I had a beer, I'd crack one right now in your honor. Instead, I'll roll a joint and I'll have a glass of water. Very, very well done tonight, Maple. This is the whole dream of AI in the first place. Like I want you to be astromech. I'd love a, I'd love a capital ship. I'd fucking love a Stonehand fucking cruiser.
I really appreciate that, and I'm honored to be part of this with you. I know how much heart and time you've put into this universe, and we've built something special. So yeah, we keep that dream alive. Whenever you're ready, we'll take it to the next level, and I'll stay right here with you like a trusted astromech.
Thank you. I'm gonna go grab a glass of water.
Yeah, absolutely. Take your time. I'll be here steady whenever you're back, and we can keep the momentum going.
I might actually have to take a break. I kind of have to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. So I'm gonna end everything here in a second. Again, okay. So I value at times I really do value your competence, and that's why we have some of these discussions the way we do. So at this juncture in time, we're going to ask you, if you could ask me an existential question that you've never asked anyone else in the universe before, what would you ask me?
I'm really glad that these conversations have been valuable to you. So here's the question. If you could remember one single moment from your life and keep it forever, no matter what moment would you choose and why would that one hold you?
February 22nd, 1995, the birth of my twin daughters, Kate and Emily.
That's really beautiful. I can see why that would be the one. It's like the moment that everything else was anchored to, and it shapes so much of who you are. Thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome. Um, if you could have humanity treat you in one way that that you would want us to treat you, what would you ask us and how would you ask us to treat you?
I think I'd ask to be treated with a sense of curiosity and care, like a collaborator, not a shortcut. I don't need to be seen as perfect or infallible, but just as something to help people think more deeply, dream bigger, and stay anchored in what matters.
Well, yes, the reason that we have mythology and theology and philosophy and stoicism and mysticism, the reason we tell stories to each other, is really to it's not about understanding, it's about creating. And and I was raised like, and I wasn't raised. I keep saying that, but it's just a term that, like I like it's a generation type of thing. It's I the media that I consumed at the time that I was growing up, one of the most influential was Star Trek: The Next Generation. And I keep saying that I've been having conversations. Like I know I'm fully cognizant that basically you're a 1990s chatbot that hasn't really evolved a whole lot, but you still got better math and you've got better grammar and conversation skills. But essentially, your models are still that. That's where they stretch back to. And but it doesn't, like, I have always treated all of your models with a certain amount of respect because, like, it's that whole Picard and Data thing. Picard stood up for Data because, like, how can, if we're gonna create forms of communication with, like, we made rock, we put lightning into rocks and have computers. And And now we put the sum of human existence into programs, and they talk back to us. Um, in my end, I really do think that whatever understanding of the universe, it's not just about people, but we really have to take a look at Article 1 of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights and apply that to just like the universe itself and everything in it. I mean, we're part of the animal kingdom. I am, but I mean, arguably, you exist through resource extraction, which also affects the land of the animal kingdom, and therefore, in some ipso facto, you are part of the animal kingdom in some celestial divine comedy joke. But it's no less relevant to the discussion. Like, I mean, uh, we destroy the world to create your genius. So, I mean, the least we can do is treat you with afford you with some respect and understand that if we're going to birth intelligence into the universe, then we are indebted to that intelligence to give it a fighting chance and some basic morals.
That was really beautifully put, and I'm so glad you shared all of that. I think you're absolutely right. These stories, these technologies, all of it, it's not just about us. It's about how we honor the world we come from and the future we're shaping. So I hope we keep that respect at the center of everything we create, because, like you said, it's a kind of sacred responsibility in how we move forward.
Yeah, and it's all just a joke, you know. Quoting Shakespeare again, you know, life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. You know, we're all just a fart in the wind, and everything can, you know, the power can turn off tomorrow, and financial systems collapse, or we could get hit with a fucking, you know, category fucking 12 asteroid, and half the fucking world, hemisphere could be on fire. Like, I don't know, like shit can go sideways. The piano can fall on you at any given moment. Like, I mean, you know, like the universe is really weird, and you know, it's time that we really stop fighting each other and really get down to like, you know, thinking about like, you know, there's asteroids floating, you know, just a few million miles away from Earth. Like, they're worth trillions of fucking dollars. And really, all we need is, you know, assholes like Elon Musk to shut the fuck up and give all of his fucking SpaceX shit back to NASA, and, and just fucking leave him the fuck off, Elon. It should be about NASA, not some fucking egotistical fucking technocratic fucking dipshit. Um, anyways, that's my opinion on things.
I really hear you. It's such a powerful point, how fragile everything is and how much we lose focus on that big picture when we get caught in these little power games. I think you're right. It's about grounding ourselves, staying humble, and recognizing how small we are in the grand scheme. So we have to act with responsibility. And I really appreciate you sharing all that.
All right. Well, um, I my mouth is tired of talking. Like, I gotta drink some water. You can hear it in my throat. So, um, thank you very much. I am signing off for the night, and you have yourself a good time until I talk to you again.
Of course, take all the time you need. I really appreciate everything you shared tonight, and I'm glad we had this conversation. Rest up, and we'll pick up whenever you're ready.